Boogity. And the track you're hearing is Scale Summit Giants. It's an interesting track, for sure. I'm a fan of Scale Summit. And listening back to this, it isn't as good as I thought it was, to be fair. I think there are much better tracks, but I think at the time it's kind of cool to listen to because of this like prog rock metal. I think it's prog metal, but it's not like heavy metal, to be fair. But I've always had a fascination with like Scale Summit tracks because they are just so complex and interesting. The way it all sort of comes together like a band and works too. It works in crazy ways. I just find it fascinating. This track, it uses a lot of, I don't know what you call it, it's not, like the power chords with the extra note on top that goes up to, or rather a whole step above, on the third fingering, giggity. I haven't done a giggity in a while, what the fuck. Where did that even come from? God, do humans have random access memory? I guess so. Anyway, I just like this track. It's good. I'd say amazing, but it's definitely good. Like a lot of Scale Summit stuff, it's quite complex. This track, I have tried to play it several times. It's really a fucking finger buster. Finger busting all the time with this track, and it gets out of hand. Literally, hand comes out, fingers fall off, because it's just so fucking tiring. It's like playing a bit like what is it? Message in the Bottle by The Police, because it's got that sort of chord shape. Obviously, it's not the exact same, but it's higher up on the fretboard. But even with that in mind, it still isn't great, and it's just quite complex to play. It could be like a bad tab, possibly, because I was playing this with Rocksmith, medium Rocksmith as well. I'm flexible like that. But it's so difficult, and it's been one of the hardest tracks to play in my library. Certainly up there, some of the harder ones like Obscura. There was another one, I can't remember the other artist who's like really hard, Polyphia, that's it. And there was another one, I swear, Jason Becker. Jason Becker's quite difficult. Yeah, you're gonna have an admiration for these tracks, these types of tracks too. Isn't really much else to say, it's just every instrument does its part really well. But my favourite still has to be City in the Sky. But yeah, let's move on. Well, this is incredibly stupid. Turns out I can't get my system. And all this time, I was looking forward to it, getting one, and they said no, for some reason. So, yeah, I don't know what to do here exactly. The problem is I do need a system, but I decided to go on PC Part Picker because I wanted to see, what the deal is, and I just realised I got the wrong memory. But no, I wanted to figure out basically if it's cheaper to build it as opposed to buying it from where I was going to buy it, which was PC Specialist, and I really wanted to do that, to be fair, because I don't feel confident building it. It's a big sort of anxiety of mine to build something and then have it break and when I fucking launch it. So it's a bit scary in that sense. So I don't exactly know like the best thing to do there. But it's weird. I just wanted to get something nice for once to be able to do shit like that. I don't know how to explain it. But I really needed to get this sort of sorted and get a new PC as soon as possible, because I am in desperate need at the moment for getting this, because my PC at the moment, as well as it shutting off, is reliable, it works, but it's also outdated, and in this economy, you do not want something like this in the system. It's simply too fucking much. So it's not good to also keep using the system. Also, for some reason, the memory I'm looking for doesn't exist, but it does. I've seen it. So I don't know what the deal is there. No, maybe it's just a latency sort of thing. It's a cast latency. Yeah, cast latency, that was it. It's so fucking weird. Because I just want to get this done to, it's obviously the benefit of myself to get this to work, to get things to run properly in my system, and have something that's just, it's just kind of shit. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but I basically was denied the application for finance because this is the only way I can pay in the current economy, because everything is too fucking damn expensive. My subscriptions cost me, what, $400 a month or something? I'm happy to share that. Probably even a bit more now I think about it. It's actually more than that, 600. And I can't even afford anything fucking else. I can't even save up, because saving up would take a year, at least. It's already at a huge disadvantage, where I just cannot afford this shit. And weirdly enough, this is one of the only times I've been denied a finance, because I'm currently on benefits, and they don't offer an option to say you're on benefits. So they don't look at actual history, it seems, on this stupid company. And when I've paid something a similar price, in fact more expensive before. So it's weird. But I did a calculation. I looked through basically the different things. I didn't know there was a Meshify case without the RGB, which is good. That's certainly my pick. But if I was to build this, components would be somewhat expensive still, but it'd be cheaper. I'll take a calculation here, I'll fix the thing. So let's do it again. Let's do to GBP, so it's like 3,408 for like the system I'm looking at. So $3,408. I mean, why is that my start page? Like, I just want to find the currency to GBP. What the fuck is going on with this? Start page, fix your fucking shit. Currency to GBP. Jesus Christ, it's so stupid. I might just stop using this now. Currency calculator. I'm not looking for an exchange rate. I'm not looking for that either. It's so fucking dumb. Currency converter, I don't know. It's the world's dumbest fucking search engine, it seems. This work. Yeah, that's not it. Just D to GBP. If this don't work, I'm gonna fucking scream. Okay, it works. Yeah, 2,540X, that's only like a few £100 less for just my own system. And even weirder, I suppose, is that if I were to build this, I would be able to just, do it as I go. It wouldn't be like a daunting process, exactly. It'd just be done over time, I suppose. Again, I don't know when or where things will go from there. Like, I also might need to compromise just to make it a bit more bearable. Yeah, as I said, it's frustrating. So, just wanting to get the system on the wraps is important for me. And even then, I'm thinking of getting like a GPU that's like pretty trusted, like Sapphire Pulse RX 9060 XT. Of course, their vengeance memory, I'm going to have to go with CL36. I imagine CL is not a big deal when it comes to more RAM, or more memory, or whatever. Get a Peerless Assassin CPU cooler, that'd be good. Like the cheapest parts on it, motherboard, GPU somehow, and then most expensive storage and memory. Like this is going to be a problem to fucking find a way to pay that. And I don't exactly know what to do. I'm in kind of a panic about this because I don't really have much time. I don't really know what can be done here. It's a bit complicated again. So I don't exactly know the best way to do this. Yeah, this sucks, obviously. Just think that there will be problems with this, I think. But I was able to afford it today because I got paid and now I just can't. Just real fucking annoying. Also, one of the worst parts as well, the thing is with this, is the VAT apparently. But I don't know anymore. Frankly, it's fucking ridiculous. Yeah. So yeah, I'm kind of screwed. I'm also looking at memory prices on Amazon, and even just the 2x32GB here, CL40. Like, fucking hell, that's not good. It's just not great. Just really annoying to find this stuff now. You can just go with the basic RAM. Well, it's a basic kit here without sinks or anything. These sinks, 620 quid. That is ridiculous, and I'm not even looking for RGB. This is one of the real annoying parts. And again, I probably need to look up like what does a 850 AM5 best memory. Like I need to look this up again. Best RAM kits for gaming, Tom's Hardware. Yep, CL30, great. That's CL36 on one of these actually. G-Skill Trident, that's not bad. CL38 on that, but I don't know, is it really recommended? You go with Expo, yeah. Again, there has to be ways around this to sort of get it to work. I don't know if latency even matters too much, it's hard to say. Let's try 5. What about alternatives? So say like horrible dies or something. Trying to think of what else could there be to do with this. So how do you make this even cheaper? I don't know anymore. This has really put a wrench in the works. I don't exactly know what to do here. I think my only other choice, and this is one of the big things actually, is I could basically sell my guitar and I basically sell the guitar, get the money for it obviously, sell a bunch of other things, get the money for that. I buy the RAM first thing. I can sort of ignore the memory because I might move stuff actually on my system to somewhere else, but I do need a new storage. Let's see, what's my SSD like? That's actually a fair amount of storage in there. And it's even got my I don't know if it's even legal, but Wikipedia. I don't care. It's a point of history and a point of like information. It's education, and Wikipedia, great source. If I had the money, I'd donate to it. But again, you need some of stuff in life, I think, and to make sure that it's archived and there. I don't really know how to explain it, but this is the thing. Again, if I can't get the financing to work, then I will definitely try to build it myself, and I think that could be an exciting process again if I get the first two things out of the way. Downgrade the memory maybe, and then put, well actually yeah, I've got like additional storage on that. But obviously I could just downgrade the memory and just have that work and put it in another part of the OS, install another, I don't know. It's all things to figure out. Again, it's kind of an exciting aspect I suppose, to just have all that. Yeah, anyway, I just wanted to update on this. Also, what's this? Mobile usage. Yeah, so it's actually showing. I like PC Part Builder. Do occasionally go on this sometimes. It will help with things. Also, I need to add storage, I think. Do I? Additional storage? I don't know. It's hard to say. Add custom part? Maybe not. Yeah, just a lot of different things to figure out. Also the pricing. Literally both the memory and the storage are the most expensive things. If you remove that, that's actually about the same price as one of them. Again, that's nuts. Anyway, I really need to fucking move on. I've been so delayed by this shit. It's tiring. So yeah. So, I'll have to remake this because I tried several times. I think I have a sort of update, and it turns out PC making is more complicated than I remembered. I've looked at several tutorials and it's still complicated. So what is I need to delete Part Picker US from my fucking history. I don't know why it keeps going up there. Partpicker.com. Bye bye. Yeah, I keep getting the Part Picker US version for some reason. But I've basically made a build and I've updated it and it's better. But the only problem is I'm waiting to see if there's any advice that I can sort of get on if I can downgrade the system basically to something usable where the RAM is not stupidly expensive, where the memory is also not stupidly expensive, although to be fair it's possible to move mine but I'm not confident enough. But it turns out the motherboard even has a complication, so I'll go through this as I try to. For some reason the order's a bit weird, I don't know what the hell the deal is with this, but anyway. From Part Picker, let's go from case down. So case, it's going to be the Meshify 3 still. I'm still a fan of that from appearance, and it turns out you can get one that's actually not got a glass window, which is a big fucking success because I'm fed up of RGB slop and aesthetics, and to be honest I don't need that. It's a bit pointless. And my system here that I've built is a bit cheaper, or parts I've chosen rather is a bit cheaper than buying from PC Specialist, which is good, and that's why I'm considering building it instead. You need to cut corners, and if I build it one by one it's easier. That's all my plan with that. As I said in the last topic, it'd be much easier to build it one by one rather than, it was a builder like that. It's almost like Build-A-Bear. Imagine that'd be so fucking cool actually, a Build-A-Bear but for the PC shop. Man, anyone remember Build-A-Bear? God. I've only ever been in one once, and that was obviously because of, I think I've been there anyway. It's because of a sibling of mine. I can't remember where it was though. It was so long ago. I think at least before I became a teenager. Possibly, maybe even just as I became one. I could be wrong, I could be misremembering. Yeah, build a PC, the Build-A-Bear equivalent. Fuck's sake. Anyway, so yeah, the case, still that, but gonna add a case fan to it, which is interesting, and I think I'll go with the Noctua NFA12 times 25. And the reason why I'm going with a more expensive option is just because I might as well. It'd keep my PC cooler. And Noctua are quite trustworthy from what I could tell. I think that, wait a minute, it's a mid-tower case. Hang on, let's check this. It didn't flag anything in the compatibility though. Let me double check the images on PC Part Picker. Hang on. Problem is it doesn't show the inside of an angle. Where the fuck are the arrows areas? That's a bit stupid. You can't see the side for some reason, you can only see the back, but I suppose... Yeah, it's got room. I was thinking about that for the CPU cooler. It didn't flag any like compatibility issues, which is good. So yeah, the case seems like a no-brainer for me. I don't know if there's any difference with like the glass, but from what people have said, great PC cooling. Onto the case is a glass side panel. This is perfect, easy to build in. Make sure you verify the GPU's clearance. Time to cover this thing in stickers. It's not actually a bad idea. I cover my laptop in a few stickers before. There's actually a notebook, not a laptop. I had one for college because it's kind of essential for college stuff, because I can do it in between lessons if I've lost time. I could just sit down in the hallway, although we were advised not to, because I don't know, teachers had a thing about people sitting in hallways, but it wasn't like I kept my legs in, but everyone else put their legs out for some fucking reason. Idiots. Yes, I'm calling you out. It always annoyed me, college things, especially in the IT department. I think you can get some really cracky people in that sometimes, which is unfortunate. Definitely had a few teachers, which is unfortunate as well. I remember I was listening to music once and I got told, like, don't listen to music as you're doing your work. I'm sitting there like, what's the issue? And it's sort of having almost a full-blown fucking argument. But it's like so trivial because the music wasn't bothering anyone. I was just listening to it, changing playlists every now and then, and eventually it's just like, oh, okay, sure, just listen, but don't bother anyone. And I'm not bothering anyone. It makes no fucking sense. You get people like that sometimes. I'm not sure if it's universal across IT, college IT, whatever you call it. But man, that's so fucking annoying that I wasn't even doing anything. They sort of said that I would restrict your thing, and then I went to another teacher and said about it, and she was like, no, you can do that, it's fine. You know, not bothering anyone, you're doing your work, and you're even handing it in on time. More than most other fucking students there. And it's like, oh, okay. So, I just had one with just a grumpy attitude, I suppose. Luckily I only had her 1 year, which is good. That was only for level 2 IT. Yeah, so I got distracted anyway. Almost built a PC, by the way, in college. I forgot to say that as well, because that was in our curriculum. I think that's what it's called. But I ended up not doing it because I didn't stay long enough. Mental health, it sucks. So that blocks me from ever having a chance to do that. And even then, the most I ever did was transfer my PC to another case. I actually did that to install a GPU. Because I kept thinking maybe it's just for calling, but it actually ended up benefiting me because I could install a GPU. I got the GCX 970. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, people complimenting this case anyway. Next part, probably the motherboard, because that's like the next thing that goes into it. The Gigabyte B850 Aurora, and it turns out I've done some research on this on the compatibility here. It turns out that with that, you have to keep in mind that there is a pin on it, a 4-pin, for some reason, and your PSU, which basically is my pick, is a Be Quiet System Power 10. I don't know if that's right, but that's my pick because it has the 3 SATA cables as well, so I've got that option. So it's generally good, but you need the 4-pin on it for some fucking reason. I don't understand why. It feels very stupid when there's things like that you don't even really think about or consider. It turns out it's like a thing that really fucks it up. It's like, oh, great. And from what I can tell, it's like a pin at like the top. It's next to, I think, the CPU pin. If I'm not mistaken, I don't know actually. A Gigabyte had a schematic on their schematic site. Where is it? Doing artwork at the moment. Really behind on this shit. It's really annoying. I spent so much time trying to deal with this PC shit. It threw such a wrench in my works. It's nuts. So I don't think we've got a response to the thing yet, as I said. Nothing. On the bright side, I did get the new mount in Final Fantasy 14, the Rainbow Unicorn. Here it is, Aeros Elite. So here's the pin, a UD connector, power connector, 4+8 pin. So that was the thing that it needed, and I don't exactly know what it's for. Hard to say. There's also, yeah, it's an 8 pin and then a 4 pin next to it. So actually, it's not a fan thing. Where's the fan go actually? Think about it. Thermals, smart fan. Is there a fan control? Oh, there's the fan control. Okay, there's one next to it, I think. DIY friendly. Do you remind me? What do you mean DIY friendly? If I use a plug, it's got IO on it. Yeah, that's a hot IO there. Plenty of USB ports. That's exactly what I need. Is that has to be an Ethernet, right? It's on there, a Realtek thing, standard. SDPFL. No, there it is. Gigabyte LAN. What's that thing below it? I don't know. One display port, which is a bit bad, but I don't care because I'm not using that. The front USB-C, USB Fusion. Not fussed about the one on my current board doesn't really work great, and that's Asus. Sensor panel. Again, I don't know where the fan is, like the fan controller thing. I'm a bit confused by that. Wherever that goes, I'm pretty sure it's just that header at the top. It's like a 4-pin thing. But it's not even listed on there, which I find weird. 4-pin, no. Fan controller, fan control, no. AO, fan control, no. I don't know. But again, the board is, weirdly enough, frustrating because there's an additional part to it. So that annoyed me a bit when I found that out. It's like, what the fuck? How can you even overlook this? It's like, it should be just a motherboard, but no, this is more than a motherboard. It's a Mac. Anyway, motherboard, that's done. CPU, obviously 9800 X3D, it's uncontested at this point, it's much cheaper for performance-wise than 7800 X3D, which was my consideration at first, but I decided not to dabble on that because there's no fucking point. It's, again, the 7800X, whilst it's still good, it's inferior. And I'd rather get the superior product instead because it's cheaper. Not cheap, I mean, but it's less money to pay. It's hard to explain. Basically, it's like a few quid extra. You're talking about 30-40 quid difference, and that's barely anything for like a CPU, and especially for what I'm using it for, gaming, workload. It's just not worth like getting something weaker, like the 7800 X3D. There's just no point. So yeah, I decided that essentially. So that would benefit me greatly, I think. What else am I looking at here? Next thing would be the CPU cooler, naturally. Did I say, I think I said the fans, but I'm getting the, unsurprisingly, Noctua NH-D15, and I think the reason for this is the quiet to performance ratio, because I didn't know about this. But you can adjust in the Gigabyte BIOS. I watched a guide for this, because this is the interesting thing. I looked at the RAM heights for this and struggled to find something until this guy who rather is making a similar system that I am. And it's almost exactly the same except for the CPU and graphics card, obviously. I'm not sure about the RAM actually, I haven't said that. But, you know, this CPU hype was a consideration. A really useful guide to mention that. As to be said, it's props to the creator. I forgot who that was now. God, I can't even remember the name, my memory's so bad today. But I'm just going to get the Noctua DH50 and it does fit, but I need to change the fans around. I think. Do I? Although, that's the other thing, I think you have to install it a certain way and then change the fans around. And if I'm not mistaken, there's a order to it. CPU fan, intake, outtake, intake direction. Because I think it's the logo that's the intake, if I'm not mistaken. So the brand logo intake, then the thingy outtake, the other one, detail. So I think that's right, is it? Hang on, I'm trying to still look, PC Tech, no. What the fuck is with these searches sometimes? I swear they're like wrong 95% of the time. Yeah, here's one, Noctua. 2 easy tips, that's video, that's not helpful. If there which way another video, fucking helpful. Again, just need a fucking thing, it's just Noctua, it's what makes a difference. Noctua direction, and they have one on their own site. The direction, airflow, sense rotation. I'm facing a sticker Noctua, like a direction the airflow is towards you. Okay, so it's the other way around then, is it? I thought I had it right the first time. Yeah, so the exhaust, okay, the exhaust has to be the logo exhaust, that's sort of easy to remember. So that will push air away, from what I can tell. And the idea is that it pushed the thingy around. I think it's the heat pipes that get in the way, if I'm not mistaken, from that guide I saw. The heat pipes are the thing that needs to move, rather to like twist it around, I think. So it's not bad, it's just a bit complicated. But it probably noticed it anyway, because it'll hit the, I think it's the CMOS batteries, I don't know what they are actually, like capacitors or batteries or something. There's like something in the way, and that definitely has an impact there. It's just frustrating. So it would be better if you didn't have to do that, but you know, dire times at the moment. Yes, that's cool. Nothing special on the RAM, obviously unsurprisingly. Just going to go over what I chose on PC Specialist, which is going to be cheaper and it's going to be easier to manage, but just 2x32GB DDR5, 6000 MHz, CL13 memory. Simple, but expensive. That's the one drawback, and I was hoping I could downgrade it, but it's not looking possible, which is extremely annoying. I wanted to downgrade it to see like, if there was some way to do it, but everything's AM5 now, and AM5's default is literally CL30, 6000 Falcon. I made up a word, Falcon megahertz, sure. 6000 megahertz, and that's annoying. I wouldn't choose it if I had to, but for the board and the CPU combination, there's no choice. It sucks, as I said. I got no choice around in this situation, so I have to pick that, which is also just so annoying. If I could choose something cheaper, I would, but I can't. For this system to work, it needs to have that. And I don't even know if I can even run AM4 in this day and age. I'm already running AM4 and it fucking sucks. It's not great. But I'm not looking for like top performance, so that's the problem here as well. Not looking for top performance, but I'm not looking for crippling, I'm just looking for mid-range, I suppose, and this isn't even, well, it should be mid-range, ideally, if things weren't inflated to hell. Then I'm looking at like a £1,500 PC, but here it's like the RAM and the storage alone, it's just so expensive. And speaking of which, the storage, the M.2 is going to be just a Samsung 990 Pro. I did say I was copying PC Specialist specs I had, but I decided against the 9100 simply because it's a bit cheaper to just go with this. and it's just that bit cheaper that matters. There's no point going Pro or whatever it is, Evo Plus or 9100, because it just doesn't really make sense. I'm not going to see a big performance increase, and especially compared to my current Samsung 970 Evo Plus, it's not going to make much difference. I think it will have an impact, but it's not going to do too much, and it's not going to give me like 1 second boot times or 1 second load times or anything. So again, I can sort of cheap out on that a bit. Even though there was consideration of using the 970 Evo again, I'm worried it's damaged, so no, that's not getting reused. I'm just going to give this PC to someone. Maybe diagnose it, I don't know if I should do that first and then sell it, but again, parts can be salvaged, and I think there might be something to salvage here, if there is something. It's not obviously fully like guaranteed. So yeah, that's another compliment mimication. I forgot to draw the tree on this. Nice. I'm an idiot. Hi, who did? And the next thing, and the final thing, obviously, final thing, it'll be the same graphics card. Honestly, I don't know if there is really anything else, so I could look again. Edit det, no, that's not it, edit part list. Keep that there, but add another video card. I guess that's what I go with. But I've sorted it by like 16 gigabytes, I think, on the thingy, and it didn't really come up with anything cheaper. So I'm kind of fucked from that. Let me double check again. TDP, not fussed. That's all matter, but it's not a big deal. There it is, memory. 16 gigabytes. And then, see, it's 16 gigabytes. There we go. Price, cheapest. 7600 XT. 289. I mean, it's out of stock though. Then you've got the Intel Arc series, which I have considered before, but it's not as cheap. And again, same cards. Like, that's all they are here. And I will consider that. But they're all out of stock. Like, is there even anyone selling these? Because that would be a consideration, like RX 7600 XT. Shopping, it's not even going to come up, is it? It's already a normal one, that's not what I want. eBay, no thanks. Scambay, more like. Unless you're on his seller, but that's a different story. Again, it's just people that are flipping some of these, and I don't really want eBay. Like, how can I scan? Okay. This isn't even. The fuck? Start page, come on. You're embarrassing me. Fucking. What part of shit? If somebody just doesn't search properly, it's just so weird. Nothing for that. But what about Intel Arc? Intel Arc A770. The main point of the video card is 4040p gaming, but not AAA gaming, if that makes any sense. So I need the memory, I need the clock as well, but I don't need the other thing. So that's the complication. Once again, it's all eBay. Wait, it's all eBay? Always has been. There's R8 Barber that looks dodgy as fuck. Price Center, dodgy as fuck. Groovestan, that's dodgy as fuck. Yeah, no option, but again, the bond here. Then as I go up the list with the things in stock, it just seems like all the same. There's like a 6800 XT, which is interesting. Not sure whether that's one though, and if it performs that great either. And then a 9060, which is just like a few quid extra. It's 409 quid compared to 405. This is what I waited, and then the Sapphire Pulse as well, which is the one I picked in the end for this build. again, that's like far better value for money, especially for the frame rate. I could go with again a 6800 XT there or something, or 9060 XT. An Nvidia I would consider, but this is even sorting by any sort of manufacturer, so Nvidia doesn't even show up on there when it comes to price. So it's a no-brainer to go with this, and again it sucks. This is literally the new build, I think, if I'm to make this. And I think the only thing to do, wait, what's this compatibility note now? Fan compatibility checking is currently not supported, what? Some physical constraints already checked that. She could dismiss some of these, so I'll check that. I don't know what the fan compatibility is. Can it highlight this? I don't know why PC Part Builder doesn't do that. I also forgot about that. Yeah, setup parts, that's fine actually. Cheapest part on here is fucking Nocturus. That was so stupid of the PSU as well. In the case. God. This is a disaster. PC building in this day and age is fucking impossible. Again, you like risk getting scams and stuff, but I have no choice with this sort of crap. I don't know what to do exactly. But this is the best I can do with choosing a system, and my best option, my strategy here, I'm not sure if it's solid, is just to buy the expensive parts first. So Corsair Vengeance memory, sure, I'll buy that, then I'll get the storage, because that will be one of the big things to get, and then I start building it. So I get like the motherboard, I assemble that I suppose, although to be honest it's hard to store that. Actually not sure where I'm going to put that, having said it. So I need to wait for the motherboard and then wait for the case, possibly. Because I could put the CPU on, no problem, I could take things off and stuff. And then I put the CPU cooler on, get that next, basically do it in order, put the standoffs in, I've done that, which is good. So I actually didn't know that from my PC building adventures before, even though I never built a PC. But the standoffs, so that's why my PC died. Huh. Well, that's revealing. So, my very old system, which used to have I think it's like 660 or something in it, which I transferred into a bigger case, might have just died from a lack of standoffs. Which is, that explains a lot. Explains why the place found shortages when the PC repair company found that. My god. What I don't know what that was. Sure. That's so stupid. Weirdly enough, I researched everything when it came to that, and I didn't even notice that before. And I didn't even notice this until now. Like, what the fuck? The shortage was probably caused by the lack of standoffs. I don't ever remember installing those. The case didn't even come with any, so that's probably the reason. What the fuck? It's so weird. Even worse is I was on carpet, but somehow that system survived for about 4 or 5 years, I think, even after that. Anyway, yeah, so just a matter of assembling it step by step, I think. Getting every part as it comes, but the expensive parts first, and I think that's going to be the crucial bit. I'll have to find a way to get the memory. I'm not exactly sure what we could do, because we don't have things like Trident or G-Skill in the UK for some reason. I don't know where the fuck that is, because I swear we did have it, and suddenly it's not here. Sorry. No, I'm not sorry actually, you deserve it. Man, this fucking sucks, as I said. So yeah, I haven't really got anything else to answer this, to be fair, because there ain't really anything else to say. Just PC parts are in a shit place at the moment, and I'm just gonna have to take the risk, I think. Just buy as I go along and stuff, I guess. Just hang on with my current system, see where it goes and stuff, and you never know. I might end up never building one anyway, because World War Three, because other things as well, Terminators. Yeah, there's always that option. And also new parts could always come out, so it also gives me that leeway. So I guess like there's two um, instances, like 6 month wait for some parts, and then it'd be 1 month wait for one. I guess I could calculate it based on price. But I'm always looking at like finance options, and I think finance may be a way to just speed it up if I get stuck. So again, buying the parts and then just getting it ready. It's just that's the case here. I think it's the only thing I can do. I can't control anything. Obviously, I tried to stop AI before it became a thing. Everyone laughed at me, said no, it's inevitable. You need to let it happen. And then they suddenly don't like it because it's made everything too expensive. Oh, by the way, AI is inevitable. Take that. Anyway, let's move on. Oh, I just saw really annoying. I'm sure it's political cost video. But it's Rupert Lowe's AI video or something. I don't know who actually posted it. But it is embarrassing. It's basically depicting Rupert Lowe and the whole of England on horseback in armour and swords and arrows, going to a coastline and fighting off a bunch of black people in boats without weapons. Like those people without weapons. What the fuck? It just seems extremely. I don't know what the term is. People said it's cruel, but I think it's more than that. I just think that it's a terrible depiction, obviously, of the state of England. But I think it's even worse the fact that it's like it's portraying it in another way, where the people on boats are coming without anything, and obviously the Englishmen are armed here, and they're basically killing them for some reason. Which I don't really understand. It's like it feels so fucking dystopian. I hate it. So again, with all these sort of claims that have been happening and what this implies, it's just it's not doing anything for the side that they think they're trying to appeal to, because there happen to be black British people, and these are people born in Britain, maybe with a slightly different nationality, but mostly nationalities of our own. And you can literally see this in many different people of colour in the UK. So this video already depicts a very gruesome reality for those people, sadly. And what people need to understand is when you get called racist, this is why. This isn't any more about sort of an anti-Muslim rhetoric or even an anti-migration rhetoric. It's more to do with skin colour, as depicted in this video. And that's personally why it's so disturbing, and why it's just always, it feels so wrong. It shouldn't exist, and yet people are allowed to get away with the crap. And somehow this is not like a incitement to violence, although to be fair it's fictional, but AI, obviously it fucking sucks that it's AI. But I think these sort of idiots using it, you can tell what they're like based on what they're depicting here. It's different if you were depicting a fiction, but this is like a cross with reality. Rupert Lowe is like the person at the front. For some reason not Farage, which is an interesting twist of fate. Again, the depiction of attacking only black people in boats who are unarmed, of killing them, is just it's so fucking dystopian. What do I even need to say here? This shit shouldn't be allowed. It's just cruel and unnecessary. What do I even say? And this is kind of why everything around politics sucks at the moment. It just always seems to be these sort of problems that come up. Again, AI usage and what I'd say of like Elon Musk apologists as well. Because I see a lot of that rhetoric as well. I saw the Owen Jones video recently. Let's still watch it. No. Also, I'm a bit worried that Gavin Arias' new album uses AI in the album art, which is fucking awful. That's not great album art. I don't know why they've chosen that. Chosen the artist. It is an artist anyway. Um, no, literally the same people like say the same things that Elon Musk does. Elon Musk literally has no argument against the things he's arguing against, and ironically, I was going to make a comment on this and what he said in that about how what was it? I'm trying to think now. Yeah, about how he thinks that everyone on the right is like more truthful and more willing to fight than people on the left. And someone from The Economist was interviewing him in this. I saw Owen Jones put out clips of this, and at every single turn it felt like Elon Musk was just wrong. There wasn't anything you could agree on, even as an unbiased person. Because if you've done your research, you immediately, and this is the only thing, there's an oxymoron with that. You can only be biased towards something when you're convinced of it, I think. But being convinced of that, ironically, the evidence around these things, something like there will be a civil war in the UK was brought up. And Elon Musk literally believes this because of people. Because he thinks people on the left are weaponising themselves to basically go against the far right, which isn't entirely true. And it's more evident that it's the far right that are weaponising themselves and arming up, basically. And you see this more often because critical thinking dictates you don't see a video of someone on the left doing this, like burning a house down. And that dictates, again, very logically and anecdotally, that people on the left aren't doing this shit. So even from an unbiased perspective, again, when we sort of give into the bias to an extent, there is no such thing. There is no civil war being incited or indicted or whatever you call it. So no, all this is just scaremongering, essentially, for Elon Musk, and given he's a fucking trillionaire, I would have thought he'd have resources at his disposal to fucking figure this shit out. But he didn't really think of that. It's just fucking awful. And I forgot the other comments. I think there was something about like trans woke or something. But once again, it's someone, and much like most of the far right, they play pretend geniuses, and they're not. And as I've talked about in the previous episode, the way you figure out a genius from an idiot is by the evidence they provide and the critical thinking, and also even their own confidence. I think someone who's too confident in something without demonstrating it is obviously false. They're an idiot. Someone who's confident and demonstrates it is very likely to be right about things. And someone who's not as confident, but maybe doesn't provide as much evidence, I'm sort of in that category. Sort of like the Dunning-Kruger effect in the middle. I tend to be a bit like, yeah, I can provide demonstrations for all these things I'm talking about, demonstrable evidence, and I'm also not too confident in it either. I'm not confident in myself, and that I think speaks louder than what people with the Dunning-Kruger effect are actually guilty of. That's what it is. So I don't know where the gas is coming from my mouth. That's weird. Yeah, these are the problems that we see here. And we cannot ignore this. I think it's very important to acknowledge that, because I think when it comes to the right versus the left, you need to understand that the only thing that won't survive in that is probably the truth, and the truth is a very important thing to defend. It takes priority even over democracy, but in a sense, it would overtake democracy as well. So it has a weird sort of opposite effect too. Um, but you need truth to be able to determine the way forward, the way that's better for people, the way that you can, again, appealing to the right here, and this is actually a good thing, by the way, for anyone on the left hearing this, that you can figure out things about migration that will help determine perhaps stricter restrictions for obviously who can and can't come in, or maybe even the correct accommodation. So these are important aspects. It's not about being open, and people will say I'm woke, but I'm literally just following what the evidence says. It's nothing to do with being woke. But the evidence again says migration was never an issue in the UK, and in fact it's pretty low compared to what it could have been. Anyway, I think that's what I read. But Brexit certainly has worsened the increases in attempts to migrate, and that has an impact, and it has impacted migration too, to be fair. But the evidence, I'd say, it's more important to look at how we can better accommodate them and treat them like they're essentially British citizens. It's nothing to do with just giving away money for free. It's nothing to fucking do with that. Like the far right will often say, it's to do with being better, to be a better person, to be a better country, trauma and whatever it is they may need. And just as importantly, it's also about defending ourselves. It's like being multicultural without being absolutely discriminative. Like we can accept things from their culture, like cuisine, like art. We certainly can't accept things like morality. Like some moralities are different based on culture, and some religions are also different based on culture, and that's obviously a subjective thing. Again, multiculturalism by default should be good until it's not. And when it's not, we have to address those individual points. So we can't be going, oh, Islam, bad. We have to instead go what an individual basis of Islam is. If you look at Mayor Mamdani, for example, in the US, a great anecdotal case of a Democratic mayor who does everything right. It's literally unbelievable, almost too good to be true. But he does so many things well and provides people with the correct information. Even then, apparently his video on Netanyahu as a war criminal got over like 10 million likes or something. Which is nuts. It's the most likes I've ever seen on a fucking post in my lifetime. Outside of like popular like music videos and stuff. But literally is the most likes I've ever seen on a post, period. It's just highly unusual. But, you know, Netanyahu saying he's a war criminal, saying he's anti Semitic, and saying he's above Hamas is like an extreme straw man. And that shouldn't be allowed to slide. Because that is fucking spitting in the face of truth. And they say that, oh, well, Mamdani is a Muslim himself, of course he's going to defend Palestine and defend Gaza. But that isn't necessarily the case. He goes by the evidence. He says, I think it was like the ICC, was it? Or something. It was like a human rights organisation that was referenced in that video, I think. Basically declaring that the genocide against Gaza and Palestine is essentially a war crime. And it is a genocide. It's full of war crimes as well, obviously. But this is demonstrable evidence. This isn't a case of, oh, Israel bad. It's literally demonstrable evidence to be levied against Netanyahu and the military force of Israel. Again, don't shoot the fucking messenger. That's really the big point here. And you can't change that. And when I see people on the right see the evidence and say, no, I'm not going to believe that, it's from a wokey, it's from a fucking snowflake or something, that's not going to change anything. The truth is it's a strong thing, but it's also fragile at times too. You know, it can be shattered easily, but it can't always be shattered. And this is one of those cases. But with Mamdani as well, I have to say, political leaders, it's one of the rare cases where Mamdani demonstrated how you could be a good leader for a city and a county, literally. It's demonstrated perfectly. Use a biased source to say that he's not done well, even though those are biased sources. So obviously something like Fox News is going to report Mamdani differently to, let's say, CNN probably. Just as a comparison, it's probably not the best comparison because I'm not very familiar with news sources in the US. This is exactly what I mean. And this is kind of why I call out people for being Trump and Elon Musk apologists, and even Netanyahu apologists, let's be honest. Because they definitely do exist. But people, humanity, anti-Earth, essentially all sorts of crimes will be committed in that sort of mindset. That's why I call this shit out. Again, going back to the first thing on the topic, that's why a lot of this shit is just so evil and cruel. It has no place in the world today. Again, it's just ridiculous that so many places, so many politicians even can get away with this. To get away with a crime like that, to get away with shit. Like, what do I even say here? It's absolute bullshit to see how many injustices are committed against innocent people. Again, the genocide is a war crime. It's entirely a war crime because the way I look at it, it goes through basic logic. But if you're starting a war, you shouldn't be fighting anyone to begin with. That's the first thing. Failing that, you then should only be fighting soldiers. Failing that, you should then only be fighting official positions that actually support the soldiers. But again, failing that, you'll be fighting civilians. But ideally there shouldn't be any war, and that's the truth. Because it's costly, it's deadly, and nobody wants it. Even people in Ukraine, for example, versus Russia, Ukraine and Russia alike don't want the war. They don't want anything to do with it. And yet it affects them on a daily basis, for the people closest to it especially, but no doubt outside of those ranges too. It's only a matter of time as well. And the worst part is you never know when your time is up. You have to empathise too. So, again, there should be no war. In Israel's case, the absolute best thing they could do, objectively speaking, is to stop every war, stop genociding, start supporting Ukraine, get rid of Russia, obviously. I think that's something we all need to do. But essentially that's what we've got. That's what we could do to actually help everyone. To stop an immigration crisis as well. No doubt we need that to happen soon. Say immigration crisis, referring to the way it's reacted to, not the actual immigration itself, which, as far as I know, doesn't have many issues. But again, that's based on evidence. It's not based on whim, like other people have. And like this video even, where it's, again, AI, it's specifically targeting black people. And again, what Israel can do, going back to that, they could stop genociding Palestine, start helping them, start feeding, obviously satiating them, whatever it is, and give them their home back. And obviously leave the rest to them too, to pick up the pieces, to bury the people who need to be buried, assuming there's anyone left. It's dark, but that's reality. But again, just leave them alone. That's the best option. Stop committing wars as well, stop committing war crimes. The US should pull out of Iran and stop fucking contributing to that. UK should stop providing sources for both Israel and the US. In places like bases and stuff, army bases. There's just better ways to deal with these problems. We discuss it instead and reach an agreement. And obviously, again, failing that is war. But that's like the worst case scenario. But nobody should be fucking targeting people. I think this is just one of the weakest things you can do as a political leader. What you see differently in like democratic leaders is you don't see them target people. Because people are not just people, they're also valuable. So from an economic perspective, you know, if there were some turn of events where Ukraine was to conquer Russia, for example, somehow, it would make more sense to keep the Russians alive. To show them that not only like Zelensky is like a powerful leader, but also support their own place, support their own economy, and place in them, obviously, I forget the term, but like heal, I think is the term. So they actually heal that. They heal their entire situation up, and their people as well. And they get respite. So that's the more important part. And whatever it takes, and then they obviously have that agreement, maybe, where it's now Ukraine that owns Russia, which would be great, personally speaking, but also probably demonstrably. And things change for the better. They get a stronger force, and hopefully along with the EU, there can even be like discussions about what to do with the land, what to do with resources, how to help them as well. So there's like many benefits. Again, that's what I mean. Stop spouting fucking bigotry, do research. Again, don't take my word for it, because sometimes I can be wrong. I'm not intending to be wrong either. I'm willing to be proven wrong. Again, stupid AI videos just causing all the fucking problems again. This is why I keep diving in this rabbit hole. Politics doesn't really seem to change outside of that. But closed-minded people will always be a risk as long as they don't open their mind. And when they open their minds, things can change. But it doesn't. Why do you think Elon Musk has an estranged trans daughter? A trans woman for a daughter? Because he's closed-minded. Like, what else needs to be fucking said there? At least come to understand why someone is trans, instead of saying it's the woke mind virus. The woke mind virus, as far as I know, it hasn't been studied, but if it has, they haven't found anything. And I'm very curious if there is even a woke mind virus as well, because I would be interested if it is true. But as far as I know, it's not. Again, we get down to this rabbit hole. What is actually true? What is actually fear-mongering, scaremongering? And how bigoted is everyone? Elon Musk is a fucking joke. Rupert Lowe is a joke. Nigel Farage is a joke. Keir Starmer / Andy Burnham is a fucking joke. Donald Trump is a joke. Netanyahu is a joke. Putin is a joke. And among other things, there are probably other leaders out there. There are jokes as well. I also hate the term leader. I think they would have community leading everything instead of just one person, but it can also go wrong. But anyway, I don't really have anything else to add, so yeah, that's about it, so let's move on. PC Saga continues. I might as well make a fucking series of this, Jesus. It's easily one of the most complex things I've looked at in years, and that is probably even an understatement. Because what I'm experiencing at the moment is panic about and around rather, all of the issues in the current personal computing space. So, for example, not being able to own a proper system, you know, with good components like good RAM or even good storage is quite a fucking kicker. Also, why is this website showing me AI slot? Fuck off. AI shite. Hopefully it should could start suing people for AR slop, that'd be great. And companies as well, like start fining them and stuff, because yeah, this shit is really deceptive, and they need to pick up the like problems with this, I suppose, or something around that. Anyway, I think I asked for some advice, and I didn't really get much advice. I got some, but I didn't get much, and I think that it's definitely what do I even say? Like, it's concerning because the advice I got was confusing, but then it made me realise that actually there may be something here. So essentially, what happened? Let me look. So I asked about like Blender because I might get into 3D art just to speed up my art process, because at the moment I'm drawing backgrounds, and drawing backgrounds is insanely time consuming. Like, just fucking nuts. So if there's a way to make background art in Blender, which I could look up actually, 3D background art Blender, maybe anime actually, like 3D anime background Blender, there we go. Blender anime style course, so best way to create 3D backgrounds in Blender. Looks a bit dodgy because of the thingy. The implementation of AI. And I'll try this like 3-minute video, comfy tutorial. By comfy, or and there's like Blender Ghibli style tutorials playlist here, which actually is kind of what I wanted to go for. Yeah, I would like to have the option to make a background really easily with like select assets and stuff, and learning to do that would be my next goal, I think. So I'd obviously start it in probably this computer's lifetime, then hopefully I'll just, yeah, I'll figure out a way. But the advice, anyway, I'm not saying that I'm better off with an NVIDIA RTX 5080, which is a strange suggestion because that is extremely expensive. It's almost 2 times more expensive than the 9070, and it is like 3 times more expensive than the 9060. So that suggestion doesn't make sense to me, because that just wouldn't work, especially for him 4040p. So I don't exactly know the point there. It's a bit strange. Strange suggestion. It's one of the strangest I've ever had, I think, because there's no explanation as to why. They might be better off with 5080 just for other apps. So you might make use of making stuff. I don't know. The problem is I'm not looking to do like a stupidly high quality thing. I'm not doing like extreme post-processing. In fact, I do that in the artwork itself. But I'm just looking to make like a brief high quality render to actually use in my artwork. So say I'm making, I don't know, Santorini Greece, and I don't want to copy the exact thing as well, the exact place. Even though it kind of makes sense to do that, use it as a template. So what I want to do then is download assets that are using Santorini Greece's sort of iconic look, you know, the white buildings, the cobblestone path, the cliffside thingies, and plenty of like summer stuff as well, umbrellas, pools, sunbeds, and even then a few boats and obviously water, and obviously the sky I'll do manually. But, you know, I'm just looking for that sort of thing, and it's a bit annoying to draw that every time, and it's really complicated to draw. I remember when I did, I think it's Stoptober. Yeah, I think it's Stoptober actually, it's backwards for Apotos from Sonic Unleashed. and I just copy and pasted things, and then I did the artwork for Stress, and I again did the same thing. I copy and pasted a bunch of the building assets I had and flipped it around to add variety and asymmetry, as asymmetry is a very crucial factor in creating art. So that takes up a lot of time, but having resources there and saving the time to do that is probably a lot better, and especially if you can render Blender with the anime graphics style, be especially good. So yeah, and this is a bit strange. And then someone asking about why I went so hard into CPU. For typical gaming build, you should rebalance more towards GPU, and I do know that. But my justification was the CPU has to perform. Because at the moment, with all the plugins, I've got FL Studio here, nothing else running, already taking up 52%, 54% CPU usage according to this CPU load. If I run something, if I run it, it goes up and up and up, from 53 to about 67. Fuck, I mean, so it's like a 10% increase. And you might think, like, well, that doesn't sound bad, does it? But the problem is, it depends on what's loading, and then it warms up. So when I'm playing a game as well, like Final Fantasy XIV, also at the same time as it, because sometimes I have to do that, because of time constraints, then it gets really annoying. Then I play a video, and let's do that. I'm playing a video, and the CPU load already increased by about like 5%. So it all adds up. And things are in the background as well. Like, well, Libre Office open, which annoyingly reopened its thing. No, actually I changed the toolbar, that's why it looks weird. Windows Explorer, not sure what's happening to that kid outside. Yeah, just very annoying stuff. And the suggestion's not so great. Because I feel like they may be missing a point here. I get the 9070 XT sort of suggestion I got later from similar sort of comments agreeing with the other one, but the build that they suggested was only $40 cheaper, which is pointless because the CPU is the cheapest thing there, and then the motherboard is also cheap, but it's a downgrade. And I looked at the motherboard, it seems similar, but I can't find the right motherboard for some reason. So I don't know if I can even get that one, which is a bit weird. Do need to like double check it actually, like, what does it have? The A5 B650, it's the ARS Elite, Memory Max, right there, it was 5-speed, good. 302 slots, nice. Ethernet, does it say Wi-Fi? It did say Wi-Fi, I remember I looked at it, so it's got USB headers and stuff. What about slots? Oh yeah, it's got on back, it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So yeah, actually that's not a bad shout, I don't think. But again, I'm not sure about like reliability. Like, do I need a pin connect? Yeah, I do need the same pins. Okay, that's not bad really. But then fan space is all a consideration. So if I were to add this, which I might in the end, I'll update my wish list for that. I think. You know, if I were to add that, it would make it a little cheaper. Only problem is, I suppose, is the CPU, like, does it still run the same? Or what? Also, handy thing in the motherboard, I noticed the Wi-Fi is at the top. I think the Wi-Fi antenna anyway. So is it Wi-Fi 6 or Wi-Fi 7? Wi-Fi 6E. What's the difference then? Wi-Fi 6E versus 7. Okay, what does it mean? Home networking. What's the difference? That's what the E stands for. And the gear. Wi-Fi 7 at 46 gigabytes per second, more speed obviously. More bandwidth, okay, faster speeds, right. About 6. Like, what? Oh yeah, sort of comparing it, I guess. Though I wish I'd see like a side by side. So 4.8 times is not too bad. It was about 10 gigabytes by default on the 6 one. And then 2.4 faster for the same Wi-Fi configuration. Don't know what that means. 320 megahertz 2 times. It's 160 megahertz as previous, okay. And the X data thing, I don't exactly understand it. So yeah, like I guess because I'm using Ethernet though, it doesn't really matter to be honest. But it is nice to have Wi-Fi, also because of Bluetooth. And I'm assuming Wi-Fi 6 has Bluetooth, does it? Hopefully, because I want to use wireless headphones to be fair. I think they would be very useful to have because it turns out they're all integrated, like Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. And the reason it's useful to have is because I just don't need to fucking have a wire around. It's the main thing for me. So let's see, Bluetooth mentioned, but it's not showing. There's only on results. Wi-Fi 6E with Bluetooth 5.4. Okay, that's good. But this is a site that's selling stuff, so I don't know. Sure, that's fine. Yeah, I'll definitely add this. I think they'll take that bit of advice. So then they make it a cheaper motherboard, and also if it has less features, I guess it's better. Also, why am I on the US version again? PC part picker. Stop defaulting to fucking .com, you dumbass. I swear Vivaldi is just getting worse by the day. Everything seems to be going wrong for some reason. Yeah, let's change that. Mobo. Board. 50, RSLE, AX. What's the V2? Wonder what that means. Go the B60 650M, hang on. B650 normal, okay. I'm not sure what the M stands for actually. I'll check it. Again, this is all things to consider, else I need to ship myself. It's annoyingly things get in the way. I think it's a modular M80X, micro ATX, there we go. That's what that was. So I want a full ATX, obviously. I do remember that from my PC research days. Now what's a V2 anyway? Oh, bigger memory speed, okay. The same features, I'm assuming. Yeah, I think. That's the Wi-Fi is different, right? Same network. I'm not really sure. Not sure what the V2 is exactly for here. But the normal one has more ratings, and also was it more expensive? Hang on. So this isn't cheaper for my region anyway in the UK. So no, like, there's no point. You know, I can't replace it then. The 850 makes more sense. So I guess the video card is the only thing that changes here. But the CPU I'll have to do research on, and that's basically what I'm getting to with this. It seems to be the bigger thing. The GPU, does I say, or CPU, yeah. But also the GPU probably non-negotiable as I sort of initially thought. Because I think for gaming as well, over time, I will get use out of it still. Assuming we don't end up in World War III. But let's try to live like we don't have that. So, on that bombshell and nuclear bomb, let's move on. Oh my god, it's happening! Saw something like that. Basically, it's a very weird situation with PC stuff again. This might also be one of the last few I ever make on this, other than when I start creating it. or buying the parts, depends. But I think it's very interesting because I had a suggestion which itself sounded crazy, but I did the research and it's actually much more like what I wanted. Like, it's really fucking bizarre. So what I discovered, as it turns out, is there's a new challenger approaching. Intel 270K plus. I've heard of this, and I'm pretty sure Gamers Nexus currently use it as a benchmark. I'm not 100% sure where they use it exactly. But I've definitely seen it as a benchmark, not just a standalone video that's used in a benchmark. But this CPU, I generally just dismissed it because AMD was generally seen as like the gaming CPU. And I think that is true for the most part, but the issue we encounter is there is technically no workstation CPU, especially in the context of gaming, and with gaming, the video card is the priority in that case. So the video card ends up being the gaming part instead, and so the CPU gets swept under the rug. And when it comes to something like workloads and stuff, you often need a good CPU because the video cards don't really matter when it comes to that. And it usually only matters when it's obviously under heavy load. You know, I said I run FL Studio a lot, and you know, it has trouble doing things sometimes, I will admit, but it runs fine on the 5800X here I've still got. Somehow still hasn't died, which it probably should have died already. Yeah, but CPU stuff is not relevant to 1440p gaming. So, what then? What do I do to make my PC perform better for gaming? And the solution I saw was to get a weaker CPU and then get a better graphics card, which actually is a very sound idea, except for the fact that my workloads may not work. And the problem with this is you look at something like Blender, for example, which I've said I will try and get into after I do like this artwork. But Blender has a minimum requirement of 8 cores on a CPU. Also, has my voice got deeper? I think it has. What the fuck? Okay, I don't even know how this voice, where that even came from. Very bizarre. Hopefully it's not annoying. It's very bassy. What the fuck has happened? I don't know what's happened to my voice. I don't know. I had a snap in my neck the other day, so I don't know what the sounds may be. But yeah, I'll try to say what I've discovered anyway about the CPU. Sorry, I can't remember what it was. I got distracted by something else, not like an ADHD distraction, it's something else. What the hell is this? What is motion? Right. Fuck's sake. So dumb. Oh, someone next door, right, thanks. Yeah, basically I did research and the benchmarks were good. They're not 9800X 3D good, but I don't need that. And this is 1080p gaming, mind you, so when it comes to 1440p, again, it's more reliant on the video card, so it's not the priority there. It becomes less of an issue, even though there is better performance objectively. It's not much of a difference, like comparatively. Because again, it gets loaded off to the GPU instead to process it. So, research, once again, literally revealed that. And it's a good deal, from what I could tell, this CPU. Because everything else it does is basically for workflows. For like workstations and stuff. Which makes a lot of sense, given that's kind of what the point is. And if you don't know the gimmick with this CPU, because you know, AMD sort of has a gimmick with CPUs anyway. They're either gaming focused or they're workflow focus. So workflow would be Threadripper, and also an Epic CPU, I'm sure. But yeah, they tend to have a lot more cores, and so those are often the reason behind it. But as it turns out with the 27 270, whatever you call it, 270K plus, it turns out that it's actually really good for performing in everything, gaming, workflows, and on top of that, this is like the coolest gimmick I think I've seen for a CPU. It has 24 cores, but they are different. 16 of them are performance cores, I believe, or 8 of them. I have the thing somewhere, but I don't know where it is. Intel 70K, the product for the Arctic, what? Not there, that's weird. Oh, there it is, I think. Wait, I'm on it, but the wrong place. Ah, fuck, I have to do Control F. 70K plus, there we go. So, hang on, distraction again. I'm back. I don't think there's any more distractions, thank fuck. Yeah, the CPU, I think it has some of the most interesting specs I've ever seen on a processor, because I've never seen anything quite like this. Unfortunately, it has bad specs, but I'll go into that. So basically, for the price you're getting, it's a bargain. Number of performance cores, 8. Number of efficient cores, 16. And a total of 24 threads. And that totals obviously 24 cores. What the fuck? First of all, that is insane. I don't think I've ever seen a 24 core processor released since like Threadripper. And even then that's a very niche thing. But then the frequency, which is where it's probably more important. Max turbo frequency 5.5, performance core max turbo 5.4, efficient core max turbo 4.7, performance core base frequency 3.7, efficient core 3.2, and a 36 megabyte Intel Smart Cache and 40 megabyte L2 cache, whatever those are. But the only bad side around this CPU, I think I can pinpoint and cherry pick out really, is the power draw, but it makes sense. 125 watts up to 250. And on Saturday it's got, I think, an AI thing which is Intel Deep Learning. Yikes. So I'm not a fan of that. AI software framework supported by CPU. I'm not going to list them. Fuck off. Stupid. But yeah, I think that's like the only bad thing. But then finding a solid memory for this, or memory setup, is kind of difficult because you can go 256 gigabyte up to 72,000 mega transfers. So if I wanted to, I could literally try and find a memory kit for this with higher CAS latency, obviously. But what? Yeah, I think it would work pretty well with that. And it's a recommended spec as well. So if there are any sort of memory kits for that, which like 48 gigabytes for example, I think is a bit difficult. I've considered it, but I don't know like how good it is, because I wanted to go to 64 gigabytes, but even though I know that's a bit overkill for what I'm using, and whilst it will work fine for that, the only problem is the latency issues. So 64 gigabyte is going to be one of the fastest memory kits I could get for latency. On the other hand, if I go with something like 2x24, and obviously the latency is varied in that, and 7200 transfers, mega transfers, it's going to be a bit more difficult. So I end up finding an issue here. I'll look at the memory again and see. So it's sorted by, and apparently third party brands are fine. Sorted by, where's 2x24? And then, so what does my hand smell weird? I just pick up a colonoscopy prep, and then 7200, sold by cheapest, already a lot out of stock. Cheapest, £624, 36 latency, that's really good. And it's 7600 mega transfers, but that's obviously a bit too high, I think. So maybe go lower. Here's one, 7200, and then 34, Team Group T Create Expert. And that's only £680. 690, that's actually really good. And people are reviewing it quite well too, so actually this may be the best thing. But the only thing is with this, and this is the thing with the compatibility, it shows an issue here. You may need to update the motherboard, which is kind of fucking annoying. I ain't gonna lie, these hips don't lie. It says, warning, the Gigabyte Z890, this is a new spec by the way, and also it has a new PSU, just to be clear. Supports the Intel 7 270K, but it needs the BIOS version F20. This is one thing that sucks, and I think the Gigabyte Eagle I have here does have a flash, and someone confirmed it when I asked. So it's good that you can probably do that then, and you don't need the CPU in, which is good, but also scary because I'm worried I'll fuck up that step. But anyway, it's weird. Still going the same cooler. Some Intel C890 chipsets may need a BIOS update to fully utilise 24GB RAM modules. Yeah, sort of makes sense. But again, it seems like I need to look at the reviews actually. What do they say on Part Pick? I really wish I bought a QDIM kit, but at this time I do not think it was worth double the price. What? I mean QDIM kit. Stable at rated speed, I have no issues. Hindsight, I would not chase 7200 MHz for an X3D CPU and would probably choose a larger capacity kit. Best RAM 6400. Wait, is this even the same thing? So it's like 34 latency, which is really good for this speed, I think, and doing the calculation as well. And the first world latency is 9.4, and there's this thing about gearing, I don't know if that's correct. There's this thing about gearing in Intel stuff, I don't know what it is, I'm really not familiar with it. So I don't know. Look at some of the builds, it's an i9 14900K. Has anyone got the 270? Yep, there's a 270. And this build is very expensive. £6,135. Jesus. And that's only got 2 sticks of RAM, supposedly. Allegedly. But, need to confirm that. Someone else with a 265K, 6,700 and that, fucking hell. Like, it's all got RTX 5090s, and some of them got 4090s in it. There's one with a 3090, it's a blast from the past, 5080. God, these builds are insane. Crazy. This one just called black box, it's literally just a black box. What is this one got? Just a table on it. For them. Oh, it's a see-through case, is it? No. No, that is the case, it's just a chassis. The fuck? Oh, weird, anyway, I got distracted. But yeah, it's looking like this might be my best bet when it comes to just the stuff here. Again, building this stuff. And the order I think I'll need to go in as I've written it down. Getting so far fucking behind. I did write a build order and mention it, but I'm not sure how smart it is. Because I want to build it as I go along, ideally. Although I do see potential issues with that. So first, RAM, I need to buy that. So might want to like build that first. Because I fucking need it. Also need to update it to 2x24. 600 MHz, Lowe CAS. There we go. And that should be easy enough to get, assuming I managed to sell something expensive. Shouldn't be too difficult, I don't think, to acquire that RAM. Although it should probably use it. Yeah, this shit sucks. I hate this current economy. It's the worst time to be a fucking PC builder, I know that. It's just 0. Apparently builders are struggling with this at the moment. And also, like, as I tried before, I tried to buy from a PC builder before all this happened, and they won't let me because their finance company is a fucking idiot. Fucking idiots. Like, they really do not understand how money works, which is weird because they're a finance company. What a joke. And I've used one before that actually did accept me, but I don't know what basis that was on. But whatever they use in this other one, it seems like a load of bullshit. Like, they don't acknowledge that people have different financial situations and yet can support themselves despite not being employed. Again, it's a fucking piss take. It is genuinely a joke. Speaking of which, what would it be like if I actually were to get this from PC specialists? I'm kind of curious. I'm getting ADHD again. I want to feel it coming in the air tonight. Oh lord. Oh lord. So what's going on with the selection? Why is it selecting the orange that is not green? What? That's a sentence. The orange that is not green. That's fucking weird. Yeah, fucking now. Fuck. No, I really want to see what it's like. So the order I'll go through quick. Storage will be next to buy. Obviously, it has to be 4 TB. I had thoughts about it, but thought about it rather as well. About getting a lower storage, but I don't think it's worth it because I don't know what the fuck it's going to take for me to keep my system not full, because at the moment I'm on 1 TB and I'm constantly full, like almost constantly. And even though I have other storage, the problem is it's not easy to transfer and it's not easy to even access it, and even then it's slower. So what's the fucking point? So I don't get that anyway. Next thing would be motherboard. I'll install the RAM at that point, put in the 1 and 2 slots I believe, and then update the BIOS if I can with a PSU, then that's next, and then we've got 2 storage. Put that in there, maybe after the fact. Actually I could do that, I could put that. And then we've got 2 storage after, there we go. And CPU, and the cooler with that. Then I'll mount that with the cooler later, and the case and the fan. And then finally the video card. Probably one of the easiest parts to put in, because I've done it before. Anyway, let's go to the PCs. Don't know what I'd pick here, like gaming PC, home office gaming I guess. Intel CPU, my budget is X amount. That's the point, they don't have it, okay. I wonder why that is. Maybe it's a different thing, gaming professional. Intel Z890, there we go. That should be the set, if I'm not mistaken. There it is. 270. Go with my preferred specs, Euros. Because I don't have the board I chose. Guess I'll go with the Gaming Master or something. Less. I'll see the IOs. I'll go with maybe another one. These things are sometimes bad. Z90 Gaming. I think that'll do actually. Z90 Gaming. X Wi-Fi. Obviously they'll do the BIOS update, I believe. So it should be cool. And do they have 7200 megahertz? They have 8000, but not 72. But they have 48 gigabytes on that. So that. So actually that's not bad. But CL38, which sucks. They actually don't have anything like above that, it seems. So yeah, it's a bit shit. Video card, 9070 XT. It's pretty much uncontested at that point. Also forgot to check the case. It'll be a Meshify even though it's got RGB slop in it. I'd rather get the one without RGB, but they don't have that option. They didn't even have a case of like a lack of a side panel thing. I would go with the FLP, but they don't really offer that there, do they? Storage, process, PSU. Yeah, this cooling, probably the Frost slogan. Extra case fans, one. So you just need that at the back. And that's that, I believe. The total is roughly the same as the other one. But keep in mind, I was getting 9060 with the first one I designed with the Ryzen 5800X 3D. So if I were to go lower, ideally a bit less, not a ton though to be fair, so it's probably not worth it. They have the thingy-majiggy Intel Arc, no. Also, like, are there any Intel Arcs out there? Because I've heard about it, B550. Okay, is it? Intel B series. Built for 1440p gaming, exactly. I was kind of the point at AI Playground. Is this one of their things? And AI Edge, both from work play. Yikes. I wish we stop fucking going into this shit. Yeah, it's not going to sell you any more products, to be fair. Just a bit shit, maybe not an Arc then. They say these are fucking pushing that crap. Yeah. Again, this build looking pretty good so far. Just seems like it's all a bit complicated as well. You don't really consider a lot of these things because I haven't been in the PC stuff for a while. It literally has been years at this point, and I just haven't really had the time to do the proper research and understanding of this. Just kind of why I'm so behind on this stuff and why I don't know certain things. As 10 years ago, which is probably like 13, I would have been watching Linus Tech Tips do like a build guide, and he'd be in his kitchen setup and just doing that basically. It's called kitchen setup sort of build, and I learned through that. I learned everything I need to know about computers through that, and consider building my own at one point, and I ended up not doing it because my motherboard was fine and it had a PCIe slot on it, so I used that to play my games, and my CPU was fine too. So that was not obviously like 5 or 6 years ago when I obviously got rid of that PC. It basically kicked the bucket and decided that it had legs and it's kicking the bucket, but it lost its legs as well in the process. So yeah, ended up with a better system, but still not great by any means. Does the job. That's all that can be said about this one now, and it's weird how it sort of ages and stuff. Like, I don't know if it's actually like how true that is. If PCs actually age, I get the feeling it sort of is though. I get the feeling they do kind of age in a weird way, because I don't see any of the optimal sort of thing around that exactly. Like no component lasts forever, and also no component can even stay up to date. Among that, I said like a few years ago when I designed my 3070 PC here, I wanted to be future proof, and it's not even anywhere fucking future proof as it needs to be. Like, yes, the 3070 still performs well, but the combinations I've got do not work with it. And then obviously the motherboard is dying, so that certainly doesn't help things in the slightest. Creates more problems, and yeah, it sucks. Shit sucks and hit the fan like a Noctua, wait, what? That's what I actually think of when I see Noctua, it's like shit hits the fan. Because it's kind of shit coloured. It's not a thing against Noctua, it's just a funny idea. It would be great marketing, to be fair. Yeah, that's what happens when shit hits the fan here. It literally hits the fan. Yeah, I don't know what else there is to add. Again, this is an update on this, and probably one of the last I'll ever do. But it's just crazy to think about that yesterday when I was trying to order the system that I wanted and then couldn't because it fucking sucks that finance wouldn't accept me. And on top of that, I really desperately needed a new sort of system because I wasn't able to sustain what I currently have because of the issues around my software and hardware are fucking up. But to be honest, the software was kind of fucking up as well. It does still fuck up. And one of the bigger issues I noticed recently is I keep seeing I'm having like crashes on certain software. So for example, a messaging service can be a bit buggy. Sometimes crashes and I have to relaunch it every fucking time. It's so annoying. And then LibreOffice crashes as well, the same way that Word does. Didn't even know it could happen. So I don't know what it is, but I know with my knowledge, and also I could do like a post thing actually, I need to do that. The ninth setup, add drivers, then transfer my SATAs. Yeah. And the PC is done, it's like a 10-step sort of thing. I try to, this is also the plugins and stuff, the plugs to use on that. And the only other complication I see is with the CPU cooler. I'm a bit confused by it. I couldn't find good info on it for some reason. But it says like the Noctua needs like a bracket or something to be supported, and I'm confused by that because videos I've seen don't mention that. They don't even say that there is one, and so I'm a bit confused by it. So I have no idea what that means exactly, if it comes with one, but it should, because I'm pretty sure Noctua are good like that. They usually provide a bracket for the other sort of boards. It's not just AMD, obviously. There should be something, hopefully. Yeah, I don't know what else to add. I'm just this situation. I ain't got any choice in this again. And computing, this is like a mid-range PC. Keep in mind, it's not high-end by any means. It's meant to be a mid-range. You remove the RAM, you remove the whatever it's called, storage, and you suddenly get a mid-range PC or mid climbing onto high, and then after that you got like high range, which is like 5080s. And it's like high performance, but not best performance. And the best performance you can get is obviously those 5090s and shit. It just gets fucking absurd, and CPU is obviously irrelevant in that situation, but that's sort of what we're looking at. It's the same for the CPU end as well. Because you may go with like a Threadripper or an Epic, and then you go with a cheaper GPU just to get by. But I think that's like the gist of it, with all this hardware stuff. It's just those tiers of whatever you call it, like budget, low end, medium, mid, rather, and then obviously high end, extreme, and gaming and PC stuff. And I think that's also important to acknowledge because I think people mistake it sometimes. They think budget means if you can do it on a budget, that means it's going to perform great. Not always the case. Sometimes budget stuff doesn't perform that well, and it depends on ultimately what you get for cheap. If you're willing to risk like a used card, for example, the used market is very utilised, I think. Stuff I've basically learned from other places, and I think the reason why I won't go second hand is because there's too much leaning on this. I get it if you're maybe getting a part maybe to replace something, but also it's risky. So I'm a bit sort of skeptical about something like that. That's why I don't want to dabble in doing shit like this. Yeah, as for like anxiety around building, I'm pretty confident doing it step by step will be a huge relief. But I think there are some steps that will be harder than others. For sure, I think like updating the BIOS will be nerve wracking because I've never done that before. Um, Installing a CPU may be a bit nerve wracking. Speaking of which, I could do with looking at a build like that. It sometimes helps my anxiety. I saw one with the Ryzen. Could look for one with the Intel 270K plus build. Yeah, figure something else out there. Let's do. This one's using the FLP. It's extras. Oh, actually, I might watch this one. There's another one there as well, designed by IFR. But yeah, this is PC hardware update, so let's move on. So, my time curve's been hitting extremely hard recently. In fact, I think in the past week, I've barely had time to do anything at all. Because my time keeps getting wasted at every fucking turn possible. And I'm getting sick of it. Frankly, there's not much I can do, which is an annoying thing, because if it were possible to do, I wouldn't have many problems. In fact, I've limited my talking. Like obviously these podcasts. I can't even remember the last one I made. Actually, it's today. To be fair, there's like 2 today, I think, but that was during free time. And then I get sidetracked by things, I lose so much time on that. I do exercise late, I take a bath late, I have dinner late, even though I've got some hobbies done. One of them or other. And I get into artwork later, get into my music later, second music. It's so fucking annoying. And then I get my guitar back. Then I get my prep for like fucking colonoscopy. Ugh. Again, it's all over the place, and then I have to research my PC, and it gets so fucking complicated sometimes. But I guess I need to just set things in stone if I can, and I do try to cut corners here and there. Like I get someone else to do some of these things sometimes because obviously I'm not paying them to do it, and I think I'm justified in that. I'm not lazy, just trying to value my time a bit more, and even with my anxiety and stuff, it's a bit better for someone else to do the things that I otherwise wouldn't have the time to or just the will to. Jesus Christ, it's been so bad. In Final Fantasy XIV, there was a patch this week, and I already lost time on the first day of the patch because I was out and doing the hobbies I needed to do. And I barely had time to do that. I got into the last stage of the relic, but the relic grinder, but nothing else. I did the weeklies, fortunately, except for Faux Hollow's Wondrous Tales, which I'm still sitting on, to be fair, and Monomics, but that'll be done with the relic weapon grind. But it's been so frustrating, and then the day after that, I barely got anything done either. I tried to grind out the relic grind a bit more, barely got anywhere. Yesterday, Thursday, I barely got anywhere as well. Did a bit, but not enough, and still lost time because of my fucking computer that I couldn't even buy. And then I had to design one from scratch, sort of, well, rethink everything, build it via build a PC. What was it? No, PC Power Picker, not build a PC. And then get sidetracked by that because I'm trying to figure out what's the best thing to do about the RAM situation. And was storage, but storage was not really much I could do about it. Which sucks. Then today, as already explained, I've got all that happening. But then there's a wrench in the works, and changing this PC system setup, doing hours of research to make it Intel, to have Intel-based hardware instead. Like, what is going on? I just cannot understand this shit. It's so fucking annoying. I don't have time to do anything, and even then, one of the other frustrations is we're heading for like a food crisis in the UK, and this means that we're going to have to probably like ration stuff, and it's not great. In fact, I remember when I went to the supermarket, I think um, at one point actually, it wasn't like that. I went Tuesday, but the week before, I think I went out, and I usually get some bananas because that's like a medium fruit that I can have to get some extra fibre. And it was just empty except one. So I took the one, and that was it. There's no more bananas. I don't think there's even a box, and it's just wonder what the fuck is going on. If I had to guess, a lot of the bananas got cooked probably because of the heat waves. So the imports obviously haven't been like possible because of the heat, and also there's not much to import anyway. So again, it's so fucking bullshit. Just so many things that go wrong here again. And I lose time, and then I'm trying to figure out things as well. We have a fruit fly problem for some reason in here. I can't figure out how, because one of the people in our house is not here for a while, and only one of us is, I wouldn't say stupid enough, but it's not the right term, uneducated enough. Only one of us is uneducated enough to leave fruit out in the open with windows open, and that happened to have attracted fruit flies. I think lesson learned now, but I don't think it's also completely solved because they're still here. Chucked the fruit away, emptied the compost bin, and they're still fucking here. What is going on? I cannot understand this shit. It feels really silly. And again, that's wasting time. I've had to figure out what the fuck it was. I had to also try to rescue my tea because they kept fucking swarming inside the sort of tea area I had. And obviously, there's a bit of an opening. I use a bread bin to actually store it, but I'm not doing that anymore. I'll have the bread bin, but I won't store it as in like in a box. I'll just put it in a glass tub as suggested. People say online you should do that because the plastic tubs are not very good. They obviously retain the smells and stuff, and I know that from having drunk from, even though it's BPA, and what the other stuff was, I forgot what it was made of, Triton, that's it. Even though it's that, it still sticks, and so I don't trust plastic anymore. That's why I've just gone all glass, really, and even then metal straws and metal hardware. I don't know what you call it actually. But there's good reasons for that, and I'm justified in it, I think. This is the bullshit I'm exactly talking about. And also time wasting again. I need to figure those things out. I need to get more tubs. Because I only had 5 glass tubs and I use 3 of them at one time usually. And 2 get used to for that, really. Because I have like lots of tea bags. But I need the extra one just in case, the extra few. It'll be handy to have. Be good for transport as well. And also the size is probably a bit better as well. I'm getting one that's a bit smaller, so it's easier to store and it makes more sense. And also it might even fit the teas. What the hell is that? So I just fell on my mouth. It's been a clusterfuck overall. It's so chaotic. You know, even Tuesday when I went out, ate, had a decent time actually. I was kind of surprised because I was expecting to have like a shutdown in public, which is annoying. It has been sometimes, but I can't really avoid it. But luckily it didn't happen. And I had a decent day overall. You know, things got done. I got a lot of shopping. Also replaced my shopping bags. The ones I got before were fucking splitting. For some reason, some idiot at Sainsbury's, I don't know who it is, I rarely go there anyway, but some idiot thinks it's a good idea to have reusable bags be made of the same plastic that the disposable bags are. What the fuck? that is like incredibly stupid. So I ended up going to Tesco instead and finding some really good ones actually. There's a bag with like a recipe on it, I think, and then a bag with rainbows. I didn't actually properly see what it was because I was in a rush. Yeah, I walked right past them and didn't realise because I was looking for them, but it turns out they're right there. I saw them from like a good like 50 metres away, I think, or something. Something nuts like that. Actually, it's probably like 30, not 50. Still quite a distance. Again, that sort of wasted time, and a lot of things I was doing or finding in the shopping. Again, wasting time, and we're also heading to the crisis, so I don't even know how I'm going to support my hobbies here. I want to get a fucking guitar, I want to get a audio interface, it's like my leg, fuck off. I'm also hallucinating, I think. I've noticed that as well because of the fruit flies, but something is causing me to hallucinate. I'm not sure if it's sleep deprivation or the bath soak I'm using like rose and something from Imperial Leather. I might stop using it because it also attracts wasps, it turns out. I remember having the window open, saw that fucking thing flying there. I was like, I got up instantly and like, nope, you're not coming in. You're not joining me. This is a no wasp zone. Yes, I'm discriminative against wasps. As far as I know, they're not very good for the ecosystem. I could be wrong. Yeah, it's like daily troubles I find myself in. And today, even then, I started the colonoscopy meal prep, and I've also found out on the leaf that I've got, I can actually eat the lunch on the day before, which is very interesting. Because I'm pretty sure it said not to do that. It said like 48 hours without eating, and I can't do that. But thank fuck I can. Yeah, it's weird. It's very confusing stuff. Like, what is going up, going on? And also, I think I'm gonna have cereal instead of like bread and butter and Marmite. I think I'm gonna change that all. Cereal. Yeah, let's go with that. Cereal. It turns out I'm not using the bread. It's just annoying, but I will use it at some point. Mix changeover noodles, so let's do bread and Marmite. Sandwich, sure. I've also got sliced cheese, so maybe. Do I? Yeah, I'll open sliced cheese, fuck it. And that'll be lunch, but I'll probably need like 2 sandwiches. And then obviously eve prep. Yeah. As I said, it happened again. I don't not notice. I'm wasting minutes here doing the fucking prep, planning it out. That's exactly what I mean. I think I am just cursed. Just cursed to constantly be wasting time this way, which I really obviously don't want to do. It gets so annoying. I have things I need to do. I want to get my hobbies done, which I found out last week I can get 2 done in the morning at most, even with a bit of talking and a bit of bowel problems. But I could get the second one done after and fit in exercise 2, and then I can also work on another thing. But obviously at this point I need to work on Final Fantasy 14. There's a more important sort of priority there to get through that. I'm not doing A trains for the relic weapon, fuck that. I think I'd rather just do the weeklies and then gather it over time. I think I've got time for that anyway. I think. I'm not actually 100% sure, to be fair. So I could dabble on the occasional one maybe, I could like enable notifications, but only when I've done my hobbies, because I think the problem with A-Trains is that it requires a bit of focus, and so you end up being a bit, because I can also write stories like I can write calls routes. But yeah, it requires a level of focus, and when I'm recording guitar that's impossible. So no, that's not going to happen. Also, I'm just going to order a guitar tomorrow, fuck it. I can't be bothered anymore. Even though I'm waiting on money for the RAM, it's gonna have to wait. I think there's things I need to do. I need to find something else. Also, I need to find sparkling water. Yeah, so many annoyances and frustrations here. Just trying to figure things out. It's like what is it? I like flavoured drinks, so that's why I'm also looking out for that. Yeah, I don't know what to do, to be honest. 'Cause I don't want to be drinking like caffeinated drinks all day. I think that's a bit annoying every day rather. I actually had a Pepsi Max Tuesday and I couldn't sleep. I don't know why. For some reason, a pint of Pepsi Max just fucking, I don't know, awakened me or something. Finished Pokemon, laid down, couldn't get to sleep. Like, great, thanks. Even though I'd done a lot that day. Also, it's really warm. That's the other thing I didn't like about that day. Yeah, but as I said, time wasting is annoying. I'm not procrastinating by any means. In fact, I'm not even like going to YouTube Shorts or anything like I used to. Just this shit keeps coming up, and I can't avoid it. It's really depressing at times too. I just want to get things done. Anyway, let's move on. Alright, so I got my guitar back, and there is a very interesting result in this, I think. And I think I am going to keep this guitar in the end. And I think the very obvious reason is, other than it's being fixed, you can hear the clicks. And for some reason it makes a sound inside. Yeah, it was a switch problem, I think. However, the sound between each bit, like, there's more of a higher pitch on the neck pickup, which is very interesting. Even if you do both, it's kind of like the same thing. I think it's like, because I was doing this riff. You probably can't hear it, but it sounds a bit more complete, and it's weird because the test I did was from this cover I'm working on at the moment, where I obviously wrote that, and I tested it against obviously my Ormsby X guitar here, where it itself has, you know, similar pickups. It has like a hot rod or something pickup, I can't remember what it's called now. It's like a hot or ice pickup or something. Weird names. But this one, this Ormsby Shark Guitar Limited Edition, has similar pickups, both in the single coil and the neck pickup. Is it neck pickup? Wait, no, it wouldn't be, would it? It'd be the bridge pickup, yeah, I mean, is it? It's a bridge pickup. But the bridge pickup sounds so similar to this other X guitar here that it literally is basically the same guitar. And I'd never really considered that fact before, about how this can maybe, you know, just be like the same thing. Like, it's a very interesting thing to consider. I don't know how to explain it exactly. But I think what I'm still struggling to come to terms with this is there maybe a world where I just keep this guitar, have it as like a lead instrument, and then maybe I convert this 7 string to an 8 string instead of getting like the chord guitar instead. But I'm not even 100% sure about that, because I think as well this guitar is quite rare, and it's also got a 29th fret as well, which can work. It's very hard to play because you can't really sustain it. It doesn't sustain very well. And even notes lower than that don't sustain either. None of the 24th fret ones seem to sustain properly on any guitar anyway. as you go down. Like, this is the 20th fret, and it's just about, no, it's the 22nd actually. It's just about staying longer. 21st, a bit longer. 19, 18, 17. Because I'm running through the app, obviously, and that's much longer. As you go down, it gets longer and longer for these stains. This is the 7th fret, 17th. Stop. 7th. Stop. Yeah. But one of the interesting things in the audio waves I noticed with the Shark is it seems to pick up the palm mutes a lot better, which is very interesting. So I reckon if I was to play like a lower riff, it does sound a lot better. Yeah, it sounds pretty cool though. Yeah, it sort of works though. Because the struggle that I'm in at the moment is just what do I fucking sell? Because if I sell a guitar, I might get money for it, but decent money. This X one is nice, and I honestly don't really like the idea of getting rid of it. But then I've got the Skirvazen coming, and the Skirvazen itself is a very interesting guitar, I think. I'm going to have to wait and see what the pickups are like, because it may end up being a case where I just don't like it. I did do research on the pickups. I think it's like a Juggernaut or something, Juggernaut humbucker, whatever it's called, and I did like the sound of it compared to others. But I do worry that maybe if I sell these guitars, I might just end up disliking them, which kind of sucks, and then I get the cork guitar. And that sort of fucks things up a bit as well, because the cork guitar itself is it's nice looking and it sounds good, but it would be good to have for like a proper rhythm instrument rather than converting a guitar, which is probably a big problem, because if I were to adjust the nut, it wouldn't be easy to do. I need to file it down, I need to get the action better on the bridge. There's different things to consider here. So I think I may just have to keep everything I've got at the moment, and over time I will get things there and keep a collection. Although one thing I do want to do is probably get rid of my acoustic guitar from Lindo. It's very cheap, but it's probably worth putting up somewhere in the house rather than in here, because I feel like people might benefit from that. I think the thing with guitars is, especially in a place like this, it might provide some sort of, not relief, I don't know what the term is actually, or some entertainment. And it does kind of like matter, I guess, in a way. Got weird deja vu, what the fuck? With enough a car noise and then a fucking TF2 shot with the grenades and the rockets on the grill. Weird. I literally remember this. I swear we're in like a black hole where everything just repeats, and that's what we're constantly seeing, and it's doing this. Time's moving slowly out there, but we're moving fast in here, and we're just constantly repeating these things. Or maybe, again, in a crazier fucking scenario, we probably are all just repeating our lives on repeat, because that's what happens in death. Like, oh, well, you have to accept this. Like, oh, great. So it sucks for the people who have a terrible life. Yes, because that's not great. That sucks. Yeah, I'm not sure. I think what's really concerning me about this is just the money situation. Because I found cheaper RAM for the computer. I found a Team Group Decreate Expert. So it's like DDR5, 7200 MHz, EL34. Literally the specs I need for the Intel Deuce 70K plus. I think it'd be really good to have this PC, but again I have to build it from scratch, and I'm also sort of having a panic about it because I'm worried about things that will go wrong again, which is extremely fucking annoying because I don't like that. I get really panicky, and it's even making me consider buying a fucking custom builder again, which is annoying. And luckily you can flash the BIOS on the Gigabyte boards without any sort of components, which is good. I was extremely worried about that too. Yeah. But essentially the bad part of this actually is probably the fact that I have to buy this RAM somehow with a massive sum of money. And the annoying part, I guess, is I can't pay in installments because of the type of RAM it is. And I tried looking it up to see if there's any alternative site on there. They do list alternatives, to be fair. Like, I've seen a few here. I recognise some of these places where they're listing it. We have a Target in the UK? Huh? Do we? Huh. Although it's a Target IT group, not Target, a supermarket. Okay, that makes sense. But yeah, again, confused, but I'll need to figure something out, I think. But I might as well just keep this guitar as a relic. And even then, what I could do is do what I did before with other guitars. So like, I maybe have my Scovers in as like a E flat standard. And also that's the thing with this one, the Shark. I think it sounds fine now. Before it had some sort of issue, and it sounds very similar to, without an audio interface obviously to test it properly, but it sounds similar to the X, and as a lead instrument it's fine. I want to say it's good, and I'm happy with the 29th fret, which is, I can't remember the note now. I'm dumb. It would be an A, wouldn't it? Yeah, an A, because it's like 5 up. Yeah, that's an A. It's like so weird to play. But I also feel bad for the Scovers then, obviously not getting any love, and so I guess it needs to be like an E flat tuning. Okay, this one obviously as is. Maybe when I get caught, I'd use that. It's fucking confusing. I really don't know the best option. I think one of the benefits is recording on different guitars is you get the different tones. So again, the chord can go as far low as it can with this sort of thing, and the Scovers end unfortunately has a weird scale. Although that is a good point, scales and stuff. Because multi-scale is designed for low tuning, and the multi-scale on the Scovers end Raptor for some reason is 25, 5 and 27 rather than 27.8, which is usually the ideal one. Although it's just a little bit, to be fair. But I think it could work as a lead instrument, like E standard. I'm not 100% sure exactly. Just thinking, yeah, there are several issues here that I need to address. And again, money-wise, I'm fucked. But I don't know what to do about that. Then the RAM, it sort of takes priority over most things now, because it is just one of these things. Yeah, it's going to make paying bills tough this week, this month rather. Unless, again, I can get financing. Financing would probably work, although paying free would work too. Yeah, what was I looking at? I was looking at the Scovers and the specs. I remember I got the attachment, I think. That's from the details. It's 25.427, yeah. Again, very weird. It's really designed for E standard, that multi-scale effect in E flat. So probably best in the E flat instrument. that would work for that scenario, I guess. And also, if things being a multi-scale, would be easier to down-tune as well, if I need to. Then again, I can make the X guitar like a C and C flat standard sort of thing. I'm always thinking about tunings I could put, and then obviously this is the E standard with chord. Something like that. Double check the specs again, so put my bolts on. So I would bolts on for some reason, I'm an idiot. 5-bed stock, yep, 24 frets obviously, maybe more when you grow it, I've already done everything. Luminlay blue, tangent, curve, luminlay dots. Yeah, I forgot I got the glow in the dark dots. This is going to be very interesting. High gloss thing, and then the X6V variant. Paint job and black hardware colour. Short, and then, oh there it is, the pickups. So, for some reason you can't change separate pickups, 2 separate pickups rather, so I have to get 2 BP juggernauts for some reason. I don't know what's up with their forms, it seems a bit strange to me, and even then I think pickups which is probably possible. Copy and paste that, you idiot. BKP juggernaut. There's like a juggernaut or Ragnarok, and pickups I guess can matter. Ragnarok does kind of sound a bit louder. Yeah. Ah, well, I sort of got the wrong one then, didn't I? But there's one test though, to be fair, so no weird. Maybe it'll be fine as like a lead again. Yeah, the leads sound all the same, I think. Yeah, I just think it's a lot to consider. Anyway, I need to move on. Wasted so much time already. Well, I didn't want to be making this bit short. This might as well be the outro of the video, annoyingly, because there ain't much choice. Well, I was looking through my YouTube stuff because I needed to see if there's any comments, because I don't know how to view them, because they sometimes get filtered out even without breaking the filter. And I like to troll the trolls essentially by having the comments there. They see a big own showing what they do doesn't work. And I checked through the comments, and in one of the mentions, somehow, like I've only ever had one, I get called out for being racist or something stupid. And this channel, let's see, just does that for a living. It doesn't really do anything else, just randomly fucking grabs people's like name tags and shows off this like stupid fucking videos. Just says the same thing every time, and it's like a bot or something. But you know what's really funny about this though? People like this who also sell bots genuinely think they have people in a corner and think they've owned someone by doing something like this. But the reality is that they aren't. Because the evidence is essentially right there, it's in the pudding, for lack of a correct term. So, basically, what I think this is just another sort of troll, but mainly trying to stir up controversy and harassment. I just think that this is like so stupid, because they can think they have some sort of like own here or something. Again, sort of deluding themselves, much like fascists and the far right. They seem to think they've got a say in this, and seem to think that they're correct on something, but they're not in reality. They've utterly failed. And so, yeah, well, they just suck, as always. But they're not really worth paying much attention to anyway. It's just a waste of time, and that's what they're there for. It is hilarious to think about that they still waste their time doing this, thinking, oh well, we're succeeding, but they're not. If they paid any fucking attention to the places they troll them constantly, they know it doesn't work. And I sure do hope for the people that do sort of get, sucked into it. I mainly think of like a Twitch channel I watch, where stupidly, rather few of them actually that just acknowledge the fucking chat, and they look at the comments that are like, ugh, woke fucking lefty and stuff, and they're like, they pay attention to that. Because they acknowledge that as if it's like, oh, well, I got you. I see this, and, you know, you're wrong, obviously, for saying it. But that gives them that attention, unless you have something that can really fuck with them. You know, it'd be really funny to see that like turned on them, like say, well, actually, I'm a fascist. Like, that'd be hilarious. And obviously, if you know the streamer, that obviously won't affect them much, because they know it's a joke. So that's, I think, a great sort of own against them. But it is quite fucking pathetic, obviously, seeing all the trolls and stuff. It's just so silly and so stupid. And I don't really see the point in it. Again, with trolling, it's a very niche thing, and it's also just a complete load of nonsense. Because there isn't really anything to it. There is no point to it either. Because it doesn't change minds, it doesn't change opinions, it doesn't even achieve the thing they think it does. So many people are aware of what trolling is, and I imagine if any sort of education system has the right mindset in this, they'd know how to teach children to avoid it and stuff, like teach critical thinking, and learn how to not take these things that seriously. And that's kind of what we need to do here. And people obviously giving them fuel is like a terrible thing. It's not going to help in the slightest. It won't get rid of them. Also, did Pokemon just upload some AI slump? Yeah, we've got to check this out quick. I don't need to cut things or so. Is it a sculpture place? So it's a sculpture. Okay, that makes some sense. This is just a different art style. Yeah, as I said, it's just so fucking annoying. I don't know what else to say. I feel like this crap is just... it's so unnecessary, and yet no one does anything about it. There's no, like, YouTube thing that's happening about this either. And the fact that someone can just tag you in a fucking post without any relevance to your content, without having seen any of your content, and seemingly act like a bot, because it is a bot. Like, a bot can fucking tag you. It's fucking stupid. It's really stupid. So yeah, anyway, thanks for listening. Fuck you and goodbye.